We left off in the process of building a handler for webhooks coming from Stripe. We're going to begin this video by adding a couple new methods to our webhook handler class, and then we'll set it up to actually listen for webhooks. Both of these new methods will be a carbon copy of the existing one, but I'll change the names. The idea here is that for each type of webhook, we want a different method to handle it, which makes them easy to manage and makes it easy to add more as Stripe adds new ones. The first method is called handle payment intent succeeded, and as you might guess, its job is to handle the payment intent succeeded webhook from Stripe. This will be sent each time a user completes the payment process. In the event of their payment failing, we'll have a separate method listening for that webhook. Just to designate that the generic handle event method here is receiving a webhook we are otherwise not handling, let's change the content to unhandled webhook receive. You'll see what this does in a few minutes. Before we go much further, let's get this thing listening. The first thing we need to do is create a URL for it. This can technically live anywhere, but since it's related to the checkout app, I'll put it there in itsurls.py. I'll call this path WH, and it will return a function called webhook with a name of webhook. The webhook function will live in a file called webhooks.py, so just like we import views, models, and forms, I'll import the webhook function from .webhooks. Now, obviously, we need to create that file so the import will work. Let's make a new file called webhooks.py right at the same level as our webhook handler. Inside it, I'll create the webhook function, which will take a request. The code for this will come directly from Stripe with a couple modifications. First, I'll change the name of endpoint secret to WH secret, which we'll create in a moment. I'll also add a generic exception handler to catch any exceptions other than the two Stripe has provided. And lastly, this whole bottom chunk of code is going to be replaced with our own, but you can see what the intention is. Given an event, we'll get its type to figure out which method from our webhook handler we need to call in order to handle it. Before we add that part, at the top we'll need to set up the Stripe API key and the webhook secret, which will be used to verify that the webhook actually came from Stripe, and we'll need a few imports. We'll need our settings file to get the webhook and the Stripe API secrets. We need HTTP response so these exception handlers will work. We'll need our webhook handler class and, of course, Stripe. And last, we need two decorators, require post, which, as the name implies, will make this view require a post request and will reject get requests, and CSRF exempt, since Stripe won't send a CSRF token like we'd normally need. Let's save that for now and head to settings.py, and I'll add a new environment variable called Stripe Webhook Secret, which we'll get from Stripe in a moment. To confirm the webhook view is working, let's just print out success and then return a 200 response. To connect the URL, first we need to run the server in order to get the address of our site. I'll copy that and then go to the Stripe dashboard. On the left, I'll click Developers, then find Webhooks, and select Add Endpoint. Now I'll paste in the URL and add /checkout/wh onto the end, making sure to include the trailing slash. Click Receive All Events, and then click Add Endpoint. This opens up the details of our new webhook endpoint where we can get the signing secret. I'll take the signing secret and head back to my workspace, export it as Stripe Webhook Secret, and then start the server again. At this point, everything should be set up correctly, so to test it, I'll go to Stripe and click Send Test Webhook. You can select any of these events to send because it's not going to do anything at the moment other than print out success in our terminal. I'll send this first webhook as a test, and then looking back in the terminal, you can see it did in fact trigger our view. This means that anytime Stripe sends us a webhook letting us know that one of these events has occurred, our webhook view will be executed and we can handle the event however we need to. We've effectively set up a listener to listen to messages from Stripe.